My parents and my sister got my 15-year-old daughter temporarily suspended from school. She is a disappointment just like her mom, my sister said, after they all decided to lie to get her expelled. I didn't yell. I did this. 6 days later, they were screaming in panic. I had just set my coffee down when the phone rang. Caller ID, the school. Mrs. Harper? The secretary sounded like a courtroom clerk, flat, precise. We need you to come in. There was an incident last night. A school bus was set on fire. The investigation is ongoing. Please arrive by 9:30. Without your child. Scarlett is already here. Arson. A bus. And my daughter. No explanation. No context. Just instructions. 20 minutes later, I pulled into the school parking lot. Nearly empty except for a sheriff's cruiser. Everything looked normal, but it felt wrong. Like the kind of silence right before a siren starts. The assistant principal met me at the door. Not my mother, even though she's the principal here. She'd been temporarily recused from all disciplinary procedures to avoid a conflict of interest. Standard phrasing. Which meant it was prepared in advance. They walked me to a conference room. Waiting inside, a school attorney, the discipline coordinator, and someone from the school board. All three with legal pads and folders, trained faces, blank expressions. On the table, a printed document titled Temporary Student Suspension Notice. 6 days. Until the disciplinary hearing next Tuesday. Why my daughter? I asked right away. What do you have? One of them nodded, opened a tablet. Security camera footage. Timestamp, 9:43 p.m. last night. A hooded teenager walks up to the bus, throws an object. A few seconds later, flash fire. No injuries, another added. The damage is serious, but no casualties. Fire department confirmed it was intentional arson. And you think my daughter did that? The identity is unconfirmed, the attorney said, but the person in the video is wearing a dark blue jacket with white stripes. Same design Scarlett owns. Height and build match as well. That jacket was sold everywhere, I said. Half the school wears them. Regardless, he said, given the circumstances, we are required to suspend the student pending further review. Standard precaution. I was about to demand to see the video, but he cut me off. The footage will be presented at the hearing. Not before. Of course. I saw Scarlett through the glass partition on the way out. She was sitting on a bench, arms wrapped around her backpack. Head low, shoulders tight. I know that body language. That's not fear. That's undeserved shame. We walked to the car in silence. When I started the engine, she asked, "Do you believe me?" I nodded. That was all she needed. At home, she barely touched her lunch. I opened my laptop and started reading through the school handbook, especially the discipline section. It was all procedural, cold. But between the lines, I could already feel the verdict. Later that afternoon, Scarlett spoke again. Last night, at the party, I left my jacket in the coat room. When I came back, it was in the same place. A pause. Grayson was there. Grayson, my nephew, my sister's son, goes to the same school, same grade, same class, same jacket, even. When Scarlett won the math Olympiad, he rolled his eyes. When she got praised for her essay, he turned one in the next day. When she made finals in the science fair, he muttered, "Well, her mom's an IT nerd." I texted Mary, my sister. Short and to the point. Scarlett's been suspended. Bus fire. They have video. Jacket matches hers. She says she left it in the coat room. Grayson was there. An hour later, her reply. Maybe focus on raising your daughter instead of blaming ours. Grayson had nothing to do with this. I didn't reply. At 8 p.m., the school posted in the parent group chat. There has been an incident involving a school transportation vehicle. Investigation is ongoing. Multiple students have been temporarily suspended. Please refrain from spreading rumors and respect each family's privacy. Rumors were already spreading faster than their PR statement. 40 minutes later, I got a call from the cashier at the local grocery store. Mrs. Harper? I just wanted to say, we heard. If you need anything, we're here. Thanks, sure. But moral support from the checkout line doesn't really help when your kid's being accused of felony arson. At 10:17 p.m., the formal notice came in. Scheduled hearing. List of participants. Protocol. Format. Everything cold, everything polished. But I could read between the lines. Your daughter will be expelled. Just show up and watch. Before bed, Scarlett came into my room. Star print pajamas. Her forehead warm from tension. If they kick me out, will you still be on my side? I pulled her close. I'm already on your side. And I'm not going anywhere. After she fell asleep, I sat in front of my laptop, reading the policy again. Line by line. One thought kept circling. If someone took her jacket, there was a reason. And if that someone was Grayson, he had a motive. But for now, it was just a theory. No proof. No video. No confession. They think I'll just sit back. That I'll show up at the hearing, nod politely while they say we're disappointed in your child, and leave quietly. They're wrong. I didn't always used to be like this. Quiet. Controlled. Strategizing my words like chess moves. There was a time when I argued. When I explained. When I believed that if I laid things out calmly, clearly, logically, someone would actually listen. Spoiler alert, no they don't. Growing up, I was always the backup file. You know, like when a system crashes, and it switches over to the emergency version. That was me. The fallback. Because the primary model, the one that mattered, was Mary. My older sister was the golden child. The blueprint. The one who smiled on cue, wore unstained dresses, and never talked back. She grew into exactly what our parents wanted. Neat, moderately successful, and entirely inoffensive. When I chose computer science, my mother said, "Tech isn't a career for women." When I won a scholarship for a coding program in college, she said, "Well, maybe you'll find a decent man there." When I landed my first job in a big firm and bought a car with my own money, the reaction was, "At least you're not wasting money on silly things." Not "I'm proud of you." Not even "good job." Just administrative approval. Like I passed inspection. Mary? Completely different story. She could burn a pie and it was perfectly browned. Show up late and it was traffic must have been awful. When she had Grayson, our mom took 2 weeks off work to help. When I had Scarlett, she came for 48 hours. Brought diapers and one piece of advice. Try not to panic. Men hate drama. Yeah. I was still married back then. That's another chapter. Spoiler number 2, he left. And didn't look back. Scarlett was tiny, stubborn, and absurdly observant. At 2, she sorted buttons by color. At 4, she learned the alphabet by organizing magnetic letters by sound. At 5, she asked why maps weren't round if the Earth was a sphere. Sometimes I answered. Sometimes I Googled. Sometimes I just hugged her and said, "That's a brilliant question." Because when I was a kid, questions like that got you. Stop acting smart. Mary and Grayson lived in the same neighborhood. Same schools. Same teachers. Same after-school programs. People couldn't help but compare. Even in the little things. When Scarlett won the math competition, the school principal, yes my mother, handed her the award and said, "And here's our little math genius. Maybe she can teach Grayson a thing or two." When Scarlett crushed the debate finals and Grayson didn't even try out, Mom said, "Boys have different strengths. Not everyone's meant to be a speaker." And when Scarlett's science project made it to state finals, Mary said, "You're pushing her too hard. She's only 14. Let her live a little." Right after she bought Grayson a $2,000 gaming computer, for trying his best. Scarlett studied on her own. No tutors. No family cheer squad. Just me. She cried when she lost. Lit up when she won. And every time someone called her too smart, she'd come home and ask, "Mom, is it bad to be smart?" I always told her no. But somewhere deep down I knew, not everyone agrees. Last semester, the school hosted a family night. Open house style. Posters, science demos, student booths. I came early to help Scarlett set up her table. She was presenting a neural net she trained to detect emotional tone in voice. Simple, written in Python, but seriously impressive. Mom walked by, glanced at the screen, and said, "Obviously, you helped her. No way she did this on her own." I didn't respond. I just turned around and walked to the refreshments table. Because if I'd stayed, I'd have said something I couldn't unsay. When I got back, Grayson was standing at his booth across the room. He was presenting the classic volcano experiment, baking soda and vinegar. He wasn't looking at his project though. He was watching Scarlett's setup. Not with jealousy. With contempt. Like he already knew how this was going to end, and hated her for it. Something shifted after that. They stopped talking. Stopped saying hi in the hallways. No more forced family smiles. Just tension. Then came the full dance. Everyone showed up in those same navy and white varsity jackets, school pride or whatever. Scarlett wore hers too. But she added one thing. A little owl pin on the collar. With glasses. I remember thinking, that's so her. Smart. Subtle. Just enough to stand out. And then came, everything in part one. Looking back now, I realize all of this had been leading up to it. To the accusations. To everyone jumping to conclusions. To how fast people were ready to believe she was guilty, because it was easier. Because she was inconvenient. Because she was brilliant. Because she wasn't that Hopper's kid. Scarlett deserves justice. But justice doesn't live in this school. Or this town. Here, we have reputation management. Connections. The fear of scandal. And an overwhelming need to fix problems before they hit the press. But I'm not playing that game. I'm not letting them blacklist my daughter and move on like nothing happened. They think this is going to be simple? They don't know who they're dealing with. Because this family finally has someone who doesn't shrink, doesn't fold, and doesn't ask for permission when it's time to protect her child. Scarlett and I were sitting in silence. The kind of silence that doesn't just hang in the air, it vibrates. The TV was off. Windows closed. Still, the room felt charged. Like the moment before a thunderstorm, but colder. I was pretending to check emails. Tapping at my tablet like I had a schedule to manage. But really, I was just stalling. I had no idea where to start. She spoke first. What if this goes, the worst way it could go? I didn't answer. Because it already had. The worst case scenario had already left the station. It was just moving toward us slowly. Like an old rusted train you can't stop, only brace for. The next day, I stayed home with Scarlett. The school had said she didn't need to come in, for her own safety. Right. Thanks for the concern. Especially from the same people who suspended her after one blurry video and a jacket anyone could have been wearing. After lunch, I saw her back at her laptop. My first instinct was to shut it. Keep her away from gossip, group chats, all the garbage I knew was being said about her. But I glanced over her shoulder, and froze. She wasn't doom scrolling. She was deep inside the school website's back end. The admin section. Teacher access. Staff files. You needed a password to get in. Where'd you get that? I asked. She shrugged. Grandma's computer. Over the summer. She forgot to log out. I remembered. I have never been so proud and so terrified at the same time. She clicked in. Technically she clicked. I just sat there with my hand on the mouse like I was contributing, like I was guarding something sacred. Look, she said. These are the 5 official videos they already showed. But there's another folder, archive_ext. It's hidden. Doesn't show up in the regular dashboard. You have to open it manually. She showed me. Old security footage. Backup feeds. Test runs. And one file with no name. Just a timestamp. Yesterday. 9:41 p.m. I clicked. The video loaded slowly, ancient server, probably dial-up speed. The image stuttered, grainy. The camera was positioned high up, near the side entrance, facing the bus lot. At first, nothing. Then a figure walks into frame. Male. Hoodie. Same jacket. Walks fast. Doesn't look around. He's carrying a bag. He sets it down behind the back wheel of a bus. Pulls out a lighter. Click. Flame. 5 seconds later, flash. And then he turns. Just a little. Enough. That jawline. That nose. That face I've known since it was in diapers. Grayson. I hit pause. Scarlett didn't blink. I knew it, she whispered. He was by the lockers. He looked at my jacket like he was planning something. I rewound. Played it again. Froze the frame. It was clear. His profile. His build. His movements. The jacket looked like hers because it was the same make. We'd bought hers on clearance. He had joked about it once. Twinsies, winner gets bragging rights. Back in the root folder, I noticed something. Viewed. The file had already been opened. Same night. 12:26 a.m. Someone else saw this already, I said quietly. Scarlett frowned. But they told us that camera was offline. That there was only one angle. I checked the metadata. The file had been accessed once. From an administrator account. Username, Barbara.j. My mother. The school principal. The woman who should have protected her students. The woman who signed off on her granddaughter's suspension without hesitation. She knew. She had seen this. And said nothing. I didn't cry. I closed the laptop. Placed it gently on the table. Walked to the kitchen. Poured a glass of water. Drank it slowly. One sip at a time. Then I said, "We're not backing down." I came back into the room. "We're copying this video," I told Scarlett. "We're backing it up. Flash drive. Cloud. External hard drive. Everywhere." She nodded. No more words. Just clicking. Transferring. Double-checking. It took 40 minutes. I made a list. Make 3 copies of the video. Print the metadata logs. Research county laws on student discipline hearings. Draft an official statement. Contact a lawyer. At 8 p.m., I texted my mother. "You watched that footage. You knew it wasn't her. And you still signed the suspension. What will you say at the hearing?" That evening, my mom texted, "Come over. It's urgent." So I went. They were all there, Mom, Dad, and Mary. No yelling. No excuses. Just the truth. Turns out, they all knew. Mom had seen the footage days ago. She showed it to Dad and Mary right after that night. But no one said anything. They didn't want Grayson to get in trouble. "He didn't think it through, he's just a boy," Mom said. "We hoped it would all blow over and no one would ever find out," Mary added. I sat there listening, and felt the last pieces of my illusions fall away. To them, Grayson was the grandson. The boy. The future. And Scarlett? Just a girl. Just an inconvenient truth. And in this house, truth was never something anyone really wanted. I listened without a word. Then I walked to the door. They started yelling. Panic in their voices. "You're betraying the family. You're going to ruin everything." I didn't answer. I slammed the door and went home. An hour later, the school emailed a reminder. The hearing would take place at 10 a.m. Closed format. Board members and parents only. Perfect. Closed means we could show the video. Right there. In their faces. While they read accusations off their perfectly prepared little sheets. Scarlett had already gone to bed. I sat next to her. Laptop beside me. Flash drive in my jeans pocket. Hard drive in my purse. Cloud copy on a hidden account. We were ready. They thought we'd just roll over. That a mother with a voice wouldn't use it. That a kid who got framed wouldn't learn how to fight back. They had cameras. We had the truth. And the difference? We weren't afraid to use it. My name is Kate Harper. I'm 37, and if someone had told me 5 years ago that I'd be standing outside a school holding evidence against my own mother, I would have laughed. Bitterly, but still laughed. I stood outside the school building, staring at the taped sign fluttering on the door, disciplinary board meeting. Admission by invitation only. Like it was some secret Masonic ritual and not a hearing that could determine my daughter's future. Scarlett walked beside me, silent. Hair in a tight ponytail. No makeup. No whining. Just that sharp, steady look in her eyes. The stubbornness? Yeah, that's genetic. It took me 20 years to learn how to use mine. She wakes up with it fully loaded. The room looked exactly like it did the first time. Discipline counselor. Attorney. 2 board members. And now her. My mother. Sitting in her usual chair, wearing her usual blazer. Only her eyes weren't the same. They were colder. Stranger. She didn't speak, but her presence filled the room like a draft under a locked door. They started the meeting with the usual script. Today, we'll be reviewing the incident involving the school bus fire. The student, Scarlett Harper, was suspended pending investigation, and now. I raised my hand. Excuse me. We have evidence that needs to be reviewed before any decisions are made. They exchanged looks. The school attorney arched an eyebrow like I'd just interrupted a Supreme Court ruling. That kind of material should be submitted in advance. It's video footage, I said, cutting him off. From the school's own security camera, tech entrance, time-stamped. It's stored on your internal server. We'll show it now. I plugged in the flash drive. A couple clicks. And there it was. Black and white footage on the screen. Same day. 9:41 p.m. A boy in a dark jacket. Same brand. Same model. He moves around the back of the building. Heads toward the bus lot. He's carrying a box. He sets it behind the bus. Strikes a match. Flame. That's not my daughter, I said calmly. That's Grayson Bennett. Silence. Not just the usual awkward silence. This was a different kind, tense, loaded. Like the inhale right before someone screams. The lawyer glanced from the screen to my mother. One of the board members spoke, voice low. Can you confirm the authenticity of the video? I nodded. It's from your server. And more than that, this file had already been opened before we accessed it. From an admin account. From the school principal's account. Every head in the room turned toward her. She didn't speak right away. When she did, it was soft. Controlled. I saw the footage. A few days ago. But I wasn't sure. It was complicated. Grayson is my grandson. I didn't want to jump to conclusions. You withheld direct evidence, the attorney snapped. And allowed a student to be suspended, falsely. That's a violation of your professional duties. The board left for a private session. Scarlett and I waited in the hallway. I held her hand. For the first time in all of this, she was trembling. Not from fear. From the kind of rage you can only hold in your bones. 20 minutes passed. Then they came back. Scarlett Harper is fully cleared. The suspension is lifted. All records will be corrected. Pause. Principal Bennett is hereby removed from her position. Effective immediately. An interim administrator will be assigned within the week. I didn't look at my mother. Just took my daughter's hand and walked out. In the car, Scarlett asked, "What about Grayson?" The police have been notified. The school is submitting the full report. His family will be responsible for restitution. Later that day, we got the notice. Damages, $12,437. His parents would have to pay. If they refused, the school would file a civil suit. The next morning, my sister texted me. You betrayed the family for some random girl. I didn't reply. I blocked her number. Because Scarlett is not some random girl. She's my daughter. My pride. My choice, every single day. A week later, we went back to school. Same lockers. Same halls. Same faces. But now, the looks had changed. Some held respect. Some caution. No one whispered anymore. When I walked Scarlett to class, we passed the wall of administrative portraits. Her grandmother's nameplate was gone. Just a blank space left behind. A silence where a lie used to sit. I didn't feel triumphant. No joy. Just a deep breath and a quiet kind of peace. They tried to protect their name. I tried to protect my child. And maybe it's not up to me to decide who lost. But I know exactly who won. If any of this hit home for you, tell me, what would you have done? Would you have stood by your family? Or the truth? Subscribe if you want to hear more stories like this. Sometimes, just knowing you're not alone makes all the difference.